Hey everyone, David C. Anderson here, coming at you from the Knife Center. Welcome to Knife AQ episode 181 of the Knife series, where I answer all your questions, sharp or dull. This week, we're talking about the fine art of compromise when it comes to knife design, as well as taking a look at something you might not have ever seen before. Let's get into it. All right, everyone, welcome. If you're new to this series, drop your questions in the comments below because that's where we get the questions for this series. We pull them out and hope to give you some interesting answers for them. First one today comes from Ryebread704. Hey, DCA and Thomas, love the show. Question: I love the Spyderco Endura, but I don't love the Saber height grinds on my model. Is there any advantage to the Saber grinds, or Saber height grinds for that matter, over a full flat grind? My thoughts are possibly on the Endura a tougher edge, but I don't know. Well, long and short of it is the Saber height flat grind as opposed to the full flat grind on the Endura will give you both more thickness behind the edge, so more durability under heavy use, and more thickness, aka more strength basically, at the spine, also giving you more durability under hard use. And I just happened to pick the Emerson Wave version as opposed to the versions that you can still get with the standard full straight spine blade shape with a Saber grind, just because it's something a little more different. That's the easy, quick answer. That could, if that was it, that could have been a lightning round answer, but it's a good example of how everything when it comes to knife design is a compromise. Or compromise has negative connotations. Everything's a trade-off in what you do. The full flat grind on this knife right here, on this standard Endura right here, slices great. It is more efficient passing through material because there's less material behind the edge that needs to push through the other material, if you take my meaning. Yeah, there's just less in the way of the edge doing its job. However, if you wanted to use this, for example, in a tactical situation, and this is why I pulled the Wave version here, the tip on this is very fine, very acute. The blade itself has a distal taper, so it's tapering all the way down to that point. So the further out you go, essentially, the weaker this blade is compared to further back on the blade. So if that is something you need your knife to do, the Saber height flat grind on this waved Endura would be a better option. You've got that full thickness of the metal going further out. You've got a thicker, less acute tip right there. So yeah, it's not gonna slice through cardboard boxes as well as the full flat. It does a great job there, but its strengths lie elsewhere. And that's why it's kind of gets impossible to ever say what is the best knife for XYZ, unless it's, you can get into it with some real narrow definitions possibly, but there's no such thing as the best knife because people's needs are different and knives are made to serve different purposes. Even the same knife is made to serve two different purposes with the variations you can see right here. So I can ask the audience something. What's your favorite compromised knife design?
I don't care. Reverse tantos are perfect.
Yeah. But yeah, that would be the difference there. So it sounds to me, sir, Mr. Ryebread.
Sounds grainy.
I was gonna say a very dignified name, but I like yours better. So yeah, if you're not a fan of your Saber height grind on your Endura, it's probably not optimized to what you are doing. You probably want something a little bit slicier. Maybe take that one, your Saber height one, and relegate it to a bug out bag or like a preparedness kit or something where it'd be nice to have a more durable blade on it. It'd be a good glove box knife for that matter, but good car knife. That'd be what I would suggest. All right, now we have a question from Damyr. Can you please show us a few knives which you've never featured in the show? I'm sure there are plenty of them in the warehouse, and I bet you could make one entire episode of Knife AQ around that, or probably 10 more episodes. Love the show piece. Well, sir, Damyr, sir, ma'am, I'm not sure. You have inspired a new segment in Knife AQ. It's the pirate segment. Talking about buried treasure. Because there is a lot of stuff in the warehouse over there, and there's so many high-profile things that other things get buried. So, starting today, and for the next 25 episodes of Knife IQ, there's 26 letters in the alphabet, right?
Yes. That's not checked. Our alphabet, at least.
Imperial versus metric alphabet, right? They got them accents and all that.
Kelvin.
The Kelvin alphabet. We're going to take a look at something that I've never shown on the channel each week. Starting with the letter A, we're going to find a brand, actually, that has never been featured on the channel before. And you can, visit our whole list of brands. We'll leave a link to that below. So I went through A's, and I saw a brand, a few there, but Amare caught my attention. So I clicked through, and this is the knife right here for this inaugural installment of Buried Treasure. Or maybe this is just like Hidden Gems minisodes inside the FAQ. Anyway, Amare is a collaboration, the brand I should say, is a collaboration between Real Steel and the German knife maker Messeronikum, who I'm not at all familiar with. Although, Amare sounds far more Italian than either of those. So Real Steel, I did say Real Steel. Yeah, Real Steel is doing the manufacturing, and the design is German. This is the Paragon. Normal price about $90. We have it on sale right now for about $81. And it is a slip joint, or at least a non-locking folder. But it's pretty cool. It's a non-locking folder executed in a way I have not seen before. We'll get to that. 3 1/4 inch drop point blade and 690 steel, stone washed finish. Almost a full flat grind. Just great all around shape. It's going to be fairly slicey. We've got stainless steel handles with black G10 onlays, reversible deep carry clip. Sounds pretty good. We've got a nail nick here along with an easy cutout. Good snap there, but you can't really see anything providing that snap. There's no detent bars like we would see on like a ball detent or double detent style detent joint. Detent. Can I say detent again? There's no back spring either. There's also no cutout in the frame, allowing the frame to actually flex and act as the back spring. All I can see is a tiny little pin riding around the pivot there, which tells me there's something mounted internally, which we can't see at all, providing that, which is pretty cool. Unfortunately, this is inventory. I don't own this knife, so I can't go in and just willy-nilly take it apart to see what's going on. Perhaps someone in the comments or some other intrepid individual will pick one up and find out. But it's pretty cool. It feels great. I mean, Real Steel makes a perfectly fine knife. More than perfectly fine. Real Steel makes a great knife. There's nothing at all to complain about with their manufacturing. They do a very good job, and that is evident here as well. Pretty cool thing. What do y'all think?
I think I need to make a graphic for this segment.
You might do. So yeah, 25 more weeks of this. But that's pretty cool. It gives a good excuse to find something we haven't shown before. And this is a cool one. A good one to start with. All right. Next question comes from our Measured Once, Cut Twice segment, where we take a second slice at a previously answered question. And this one, I'll just read it first, and then it gives some context. Comes from BML Jenny. For a 2-inch Class C knife, I don't see a reason to ignore slip joints since you're also buying a tough work knife. This opens up a lot of classy options. This was in response to, I guess it was 2 weeks ago, where we did a shopping on the website episode. The questioner at that point was looking for some downsizing options and wanted to know if I were to sell everything and get 3 knives, a big tough work knife, a roughly 3-inch standard blade, and a classy 2-inch bladed knife, what would they be with a $150 price cap on each of those 3? So I did that as well as a budget option, and I discounted slip joints. I said, I don't want to do that. I want to do something else. But several folks, not just Jenny here, made the suggestion of, hey, you shouldn't have done that. You should take a look at slip joints. And you know what? I agree. I have revised my ways or reconsidered my ways, and I'm going to present real quick just a revised final offering. The $150 budget on each for the big tough work knife, the Cold Steel Recon Spear Point Blade S35 VN, fantastic all-around big knife. For the 3-inch knife, the Kaiser Drop Bear, our new exclusive in S90V and burlap. I actually bought this myself after that episode because I couldn't bear to put it back in the box. couldn't drop Bear to put it back in the box. Hey.
I'm picking up what you're dropping.
Hey, all right. Fantastic knife. And to go with that, I'm going to go, I was looking at some case knives initially before I moderated, but I'm going to go Victorinox because their Alox scales look fantastic. They're almost jewelry-like. I've often recommended the Cadet as a slim gentleman's carry, but that is over that 2-inch blade length limit that our questioner imposed, so why not the Alox Mini Champ? Comes in about 70 bucks. It has more than I need, per se. An Alox Rambler would be even better, but the reason I would pick this over something like the Alox Classic is that it has that tool right there, which gives you a small Phillips as well as a bottle opener, but the small Phillips especially is a very nice thing. Beyond that, you got some blades, you've got a pen blade and a Wharncliffe blade. So you've got two, that's not it, where is it? See, there's a lot of things on this knife. You got two blades. I wonder if altogether these add up to more than 2 inches of sharpened edge. Yeah, just a little bit. It's like you get about 2.5 inches of sharpened edge between these two blades right here. But you've got scissors, you've got a nail file, all in something that looks super classy and something that would work well with the other knives being carried as well. And for the budget option, since the Alox Rambler is no longer produced, you go with the Alox the Alox Classic SD. It's about 34 bucks. Or you could go with the wood-handled version here. A little bit thicker. The Alox handles versions of these are indeed very slim. And you don't get the Phillips driver, but you do get a small flathead, a blade, a file, and some scissors on these right here. Also 34 bucks for the wood-handled version. And that would pair, in this case, with the big work knife, the spear point version or drop point version of the Voyager. Had a Tonto today because that's what was on the shelf. You all bought all of the drop point versions that we had on the shelf. More coming soon. And the stainless steel handled version of the Rubato 3. Now, the advantage of going with this Alox or this Swiss Army knife over the Scallion, was it the Scallion or was it the, yeah, it was the Scallion that I originally included here, it brings the budget down. The initial one asked for $150 max on all three of the knives. This combo of 3 knives over here can all be had for less than $150 combined. So that's pretty cool. Thank you everyone for your suggestions on the slip joints. You all were right this time. So there you go. Well, now we come to our lightning round for today. Lots of graphics going on, isn't there, Thomas?
Eventually.
Should I go back and answer more esoterically the first question so you can use the weeds graphic as well?
You just leave it up the whole episode.
Lightning round. Austin Judway says, "Hi team, recently bought a small fishing boat and I'm looking for a fixed blade to use in case the prop gets tangled in lines or rope or seaweed, etc. Was looking at dive knives potentially, trying to keep it on the budget, and in case it does get lost, we operate in both salt and fresh water. Is there a more perfect time to trot out our maxim, Mora over really anything?" It's gotta be a Mora. That's a Mora. The floating serrated knife is what you want. It's about 27 bucks, comes with a serrated edge, which is going to work great on those fibrous materials you're talking about. No tip on this knife, so less likely on choppy waters to accidentally impale something that you don't want to be impaled. And it's lightweight enough, and combined with the cork handle here, this knife actually floats. So it's a little more expensive than the least expensive stainless Mora that we sell right now, which is the basic at about $14. But if you drop this once, you're out $14. If you drop this once, you might be able to retrieve it, since it do in fact float. Mora over really anything, especially on anything where you worry about it being essentially a disposable item. Something you wouldn't cry about if you lost. Next question comes from Unbroken9924. Is it normal for a kid to own an Explorer Swiss knife? Is it normal? It's not abnormal as far as I'm concerned. If you're asking if it's a good idea, depends on the kid. Next question comes from Nick Brooks, 7127. I like the lighter style flipper on the Concept. Not sure which Concept he's referring to here, actually. Sorry, Concept. Any knives with a button lock or crossbar lock that have the same flipper Looking for something different, and also love my Buck 112. Well, this is going to be a knife very different from your Buck 112, the Kaiser Cormorant. S35 VN, about $130 for these versions. Many deployment options, including the ability to hold it and flick it like you would a lighter. So that's a lot of fun. Fit and finish on these is great too. I think they're very good value, very fidget friendly too if you're into that sort of thing. And cool, different looking blade shapes. Even amongst a world of reverse tantos, this one stands distinctive, I would say. And now we come to our final question and final graphic of the day, which is, of course, our most serious question, which comes today from Jeremy 2. The most serious question of the day. What knife would you gift to Edward Scissorhands? Got to be the Ocasso desk knife. Which version? Well, why not both? There's the drop point and there is the Wharncliffe version. And the reason I mention this is because got the knife, everything looks normal, and all of a sudden, multiple knives. One knife, multiple knives. These things are just freaking cool. Come on, about 135 bucks for these. They come with the desk stand right here. They're very cool. And I just like to do that. Now the part where I admit I haven't seen the movie Edward Scissorhands since I was too young to have seen Edward Scissorhands, so I don't really remember much about it. Any other alternate suggestions, Thomas? It looks like you want to say something.
Sharpener.
A sharpener. That would work. There you go. Something that can do scissors, though. Spyderco Sharpmaker works well. Other products are, of course, available too. Well, that is all we have for today, folks. Keep your questions coming. Keep your most serious questions coming as well. If you want to get your hands on any of these items, links in the description will, of course, take you to KnifeCenter.com. And don't forget about our long-running Knife Rewards program while you're there, because the least thing we can do when you buy one of these knives today is to give you some free money to spend on your next one. That's what we do. I'm David C. Anderson from the Knife Center. That's Thomas behind the camera. We're signing off. See you next time.